horror, treachery, terror, and ghastly echoings of fear are the ingredients for this evening's meal of suspense. The creature you just witnessed committing the unforgivable act of murder is morbidly called the Monster, a roaming, homicidal maniac who has no control over himself or his horrible deeds. Perhaps you say he's the devil's child. Yes, I agree. But he's mortal, made of the same flesh and blood as you and me. Only the monster was born with a seed of evil deep in his heart. Our tale deals with the deadly seeds of evil and those mysterious persons who possess them. If you watch closely, you may see it grow before your very eyes. So, you have met our star, the Monster. He will be heard from regularly. We are now ready for the gourmet touches. Light, always at its best for murder. Just a soupçon fog. It adds just the right bitter taste. Throw in a young man, make him carefree, a bit nasty, and by all means full of spirit. Alcohol, that is. And we are ready for another evening with evil, which I call Heart to Heart. A title or an omen?
We interrupt our scheduled broadcast to report the latest details in the roaming homicidal maniac known as the Monster of Manchester. This evening, a family of 3 were found brutally murdered in a home near Salford. It's believed to be a work of a maniac. Once again, the local authorities request that all inhabitants of Manchester and the surrounding areas securely bolt their doors and remain home after nightfall. We now return to our regularly scheduled program.
Ah, Monster. Probably some guy in a raincoat out for a good night.
Oh, Annie! I'm home! Your favorite nephew's home! Here I am! Oh, it's a monster! It's a monster! No, it's Mr. Jinx. Good evening, servant.
Your aunt wants to see you.
Really? No. You know, you're beginning to remind me more and more of the monster. You wanted to see me?
Richard, I'm relieved to see you home. I've been hearing the most ghastly rumors about some madman roaming about the area, and I do worry about you, especially when you've been drinking a little more than you should. I suppose you're able to take care of yourself, but I do wish you wouldn't live so recklessly.
Don't talk about my welfare, Aunt. You care as much for me as I care for you, which is not at all.
Richard. Well, I'm pleased to see that you're in your usual state of pleasant spirits.
Auntie, you bore me stiff. Now, if you have nothing further to discuss, I shall leave.
Richard, I wish you wouldn't be so rude. I'm not in the best of health, and frankly, your aggressiveness unnerves me.
Then, I shall make a solemn promise never to unnerve you again. If you do me one small favor.
What is that?
Die.
What a black sense of humor. Richard, before your mother, my beloved sister, passed away, I gave her my solemn promise that I would be your guardian and give you the best that life could offer. This I have always done. You've gone to the finest schools, you've worn the finest clothes, you've driven the fastest cars. Never once have I received a token gesture of gratitude.
3 cheers for Auntie.
And to continue with this unforgivable waste of your valuable time. You have lived a totally carefree life, done very well with the allowance given you.
That pittance.
Richard, I'm afraid I've done very badly in the matter of your upbringing. Rather than displaying a spark of manly pride or attempting to make your own way in the world, you've been content to live off my handouts.
I long for the day when your miserable heart stops and I see your body lowered into its grave.
Charming thought. Richard, you have received the best, but you have become the worst. I think you were born with a cruel and vicious streak in you. And I know now that nothing will ever change you. Least of all, my money. I hate to disturb Mrs. Jakes at this hour. Would you mind getting me a glass of water?
I'm not a servant. Get it yourself.
There's no reason to prolong this distasteful conversation any longer. The reason I wanted to see you tonight was to inform you that my attorney has gone to the city, but he will return in a few days, at which time he will be instructed to alter my original will. Because of the type of man you've become, my conscience dictates that you should be removed as the sole heir of my estate. You will be allowed to remain in this house until my death. At which time, Mr. and Mrs. G, who have served me so faithfully over the years, will become the sole recipients of my entire estate. I've tried so hard to love you as a son, but I have only received hate in return. Why, Richard?
I brought the water for your pills, ma'am.
Thank you, Mrs. Jiggs. I think we have nothing further to discuss, Richard. Good night.
By this time, poor Richard is certainly at his wit's end. Not willing to lose his wealthy aunt's inheritance, we can safely say Richard will stop at nothing to have his own way. As for the monster, he's still free and roaming the countryside in search of new victims. Now, let us return. I believe the seed of evil is about to bloom.
What a delightful day, Aunt.
Well, Richard. Why aren't you looking chipper today?
I feel like a new man. I've been thinking about things. About what you said last night. I really must change my ways.
Wonderful. But I assure you that changing your ways is not going to change my mind about the will.
And I agree with you. I think it's time I learned to stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you, Mrs. Jiggs.
You're quite welcome, sir.
No, Aunt, I don't expect you to change your will. But that's no reason why we can't be civil with one another.
You feeling all right, Richard?
I've never felt better. And in fact, my first sterling deed to celebrate my change of heart will be the honor of driving you to your bridge game tonight.
Well, that's wonderfully kind, Richard, but Mr. Jiggs is accustomed to chauffeuring me to my weekly bridge meeting.
I don't see why Mr. Jiggs should always have the pleasure of your company. No, Aunt, I insist.
All right, Richard. You may drive me.
Thank you, Aunt. You've made my day. You've certainly made my day. Trouble with the car, Jiggs?
Just like to keep it running smoothly.
My aunt couldn't do without you and Mrs. Jiggs, could she?
Of course not.
No, I didn't think so. Jiggs, I believe that you were in the employ of the Hargrove estate before you came here.
I was.
I've been making a few inquiries, and it appears you left rather suddenly. Now, I'm not in the habit of putting my nose into other people's business, but why did you leave?
Mr. Hargrove wanted a younger man.
Oh, come on, Jiggs. It's well known that you're a capable and loyal man, able to work twice as hard as a man half your age. Are you sure there was no other reason?
As you said before, you shouldn't stick your nose into other people's business.
Don't be impertinent. I believe you like a drink or two now and then.
When the mood strikes me.
Seems it struck you one evening there. So I'm not the only drunk, eh? And whilst you were in the mood, you picked a fight with a man called Marlowe.
He got what he asked for.
He asked for a broken back?
It was an accident. The police said so. It was a fair fight. Now go away.
Yes, the court agreed with you, but only just. The coroner stated that the poor man was broken and beaten as though, and I quote, attacked by a wild animal. You are remarkably strong, aren't you, Jiggs? The amazing thing is that the injuries sustained by Marlowe are remarkably similar to those found on the victims of the monster. And all the murders were committed within a 5-mile radius of this house. Jiggs, you aren't by any chance the monster.
Little boy, go and play with your toys.
Oh, I almost forgot why I came down here. I shall be driving my aunt to and from her bridge game this evening. Don't look so disappointed, Jiggs. We can't have her being chauffeured by a monster, can we?
Did you enjoy your bridge game, Aunt?
Immensely.
You know, I'm really quite proud of you. A woman of your years, with your delicate condition, still going to bridge once a week. I admire your stamina.
I haven't missed a bridge meeting in over 15 years. Why are we going home by this road?
Oh, it's a quicker route, Aunt.
I find it a bit frightening. No, I don't like it at all.
You have nothing to fear as long as I'm beside you. Actually, it's quite ghastly, this spate of crimes that's occurring in the district lately.
What crimes?
These murders. Really, Aunt, you must read the papers more often. Some monster has committed 8 murders in as many days. Actually, nobody's safe. Nobody will be safe until this man is brought to justice.
I don't want to hear any more on this morbid topic.
No one will be safe at all. Particularly little old ladies with delicate heart conditions. Well, I'm sure he'd frighten you to death if you saw him. I heard a rattle. I think it's the differential.
I want to continue on home. You can have this mechanical difficulty attended to in the morning.
Don't worry, Aunt. I'm here by your side.
Richard, I insist.
All right, Aunt.
Richard, are you there?
about your heart attack. What a pity you didn't get a chance to change the will. However, I'll be...
Thank you, Mr. Jiggs. I knew he would try to kill me tonight. Weren't we cunning to plan it this way?
Yes, madam.
Richard, dear, you could have planned your little scheme a little more cleverly. But then again, you never were a clever boy. Come along, Mr. Jiggs. I'm chilled to death. Sit down, dear. It's nice to be alone. I'm sure the authorities are going to think it was the monster who did in poor Richard.
But of course, madame.
Where shall we go for the summer?
We could go to the house at Villefranche. You do love the Riviera, ma'am.
Villefranche.
We could open the estate in Scotland.
No. It's too much fuss. Villefranche. I do love French cooking. It's nice to be alone.
So it seems the seeds of evil will grow in the best of us when given the opportunity. If you're curious as to the identity of that deranged-looking fellow who has just let himself in unannounced through Mrs. Sylord's window, he is none other than the real monster. For those of you who wish to know what followed, I recommend you visit the area. The monster is still roaming free and welcomes all visitors. So, until next we meet, this is Anthony Quayle, reminding you that there is a touch of evil in all of us. Good night. Pleasant dreams.